Welcome to Goodbye Guilt and Shame, the podcast where we dig deep into truth, shine light in dark places, and create space for healing and restoration. I'm Jess Lane, joined by my amazing co-host, Autumn Smith. And in this special mini-series, we're diving into the truth about pregnancy resource centers. Across the country, these centers are being slandered, misunderstood, and outright lied about. The reality, pregnancy resource centers exist to empower women, not coerce them, and to provide compassionate, truthful care during one of the most vulnerable moments in a woman's life. These centers, typically created and supported by communities of faith, offer confidential pregnancy testing, ultrasounds, education, and essential post-birth support. And they do all of this for free for everyone. Why so controversial then? Why do pro-abortion advocates work so hard to discredit them? Because truth changes things. Over the course of this series, you'll hear directly from staff and leaders of real pregnancy resource centers in Oregon and Washington. You'll learn what services they offer, what drives them, and how they meet women where they are with honesty, respect, and unwavering care. It's time to challenge the lies. It's time to slow down and get the facts. It's time to tell the truth about pregnancy resource centers.
If this episode moves you, challenges you, or even makes you curious to learn more, don't stop here. Like, follow, download, share, subscribe this podcast mini-series to help spread awareness and highlight the vital resources we discuss. We're available on all major listening platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Support your local pregnancy resource centers as well. Have questions or a story to share? We'd love to hear from you at ask@restorednation.org. Joining us today on Goodbye Guilt and Shame podcast is Traci Wood. Traci Wood is the Executive Director of Premier Choice for Women, a pregnancy resource and medical clinic in Longview, Washington. She began her journey with the organization in 2020 as a volunteer client advocate, where she discovered a passion for walking alongside young women during vulnerable seasons. After years of direct service, she joined the board of directors and in January 2023 stepped into her current leadership role. Tracy brings decades of entrepreneurial experience from co-owning and operating multiple businesses with her husband of 31 years, experience that has proven invaluable in overseeing the clinic's operations and strategy. Her hands-on work with clients continues to shape her leadership style, rooted in empathy and a mission-driven approach to team culture. Tracy is also a devoted wife, mother of 2, and proud Lala to 3 grandchildren, with a 4th on the way.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with our guest, Traci Wood.
This episode is sponsored by Restored Nation, an organization helping people heal from grief, trauma, addiction, and post-abortion pain through no-cost, trauma-informed support groups and retreats. Their offerings include miscarriage grief care sessions, after-abortion recovery groups, and the impactful Unraveled Roots group, designed to explore the deeper why behind harmful patterns and behaviors, helping participants identify root causes and begin true healing. Each group runs for 6 to 9 weeks, is completely confidential and free of charge, including all materials. For those looking for an even deeper experience, the She's Restored Retreat offers 4 powerful days of healing and connection for under $150, with all meals and lodging included. Restored Nation also partners with churches, clinics, and recovery centers to expand their reach and equip local leaders. To find a group, sign up for a retreat, or support the mission, visit restorednation.org. We're proud to have them as a sponsor of this mini-series and grateful for the hope and healing they bring.
Hello, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you introduce yourself and tell us the name and location of your center?
My name is Traci Wood. I'm the executive director of Premier Choice for Women. We are located in Longview, Washington.
That's amazing. And why was your center founded?
That's a great question. Our center was founded to help women make life-affirming choices. So they just want to come along women, educate them, empower them, and equip them to be able to do that.
That's beautiful. What is the mission or heartbeat behind the work that you do?
Our main goal is to help combat the lies that women find when they are searching. People who are reaching out to them online are all profiting from them. And so they're not giving them the full bit of information that they need in these decisions that they're making. And so we just want to make sure that when they're making a pregnancy choice, that they are fully informed about what they are doing. And so when we get the women in, we are able to educate them and help them be able to know exactly what it is they're doing, exactly who this baby is inside, that what the fetal development looks like. Ultimately, we hope to get them in for an ultrasound so that they can see their baby themselves, and hopefully that will affect their decision, their parenting decision.
That's wonderful. That's a really necessary step in moving towards the decision of life and knowing that there's actually a baby in there and that they are connected. That's so beautiful that you educate women that way. That's really awesome. What specific services does your center offer to women facing an unexpected pregnancy?
We offer free pregnancy testing and then also ultrasound. Those are the ones that hopefully help them in that pregnancy decision. And then if they do choose life, we have what we call an Earn While You Learn program. And so we pair them up with an advocate that becomes their mentor. They meet with them weekly. We have over 200 lessons that they get to choose from, anything from prenatal care to childbirth to infant care, parenting, or we have a ton of special lessons as well, things like addictions or finances, fatherhood, all kinds of lessons for them to choose from. And then each of our lessons have a spiritual application as well. And we offer that. And if they're open to that, then the advocate gets to connect them with some Bible verses to go along with the very practical things that they're learning as well. So the heartbeat of what we do is ultimately that they would get to meet Jesus in this process while they're with us, because we know that out of all the things they're going through, Jesus is the answer to all of their fears, all of their roadblocks, whatever they have. That's the ultimate person that they need to meet to be successful. So those are some of the things. We also have like group birthing classes that we do, and then as well as abortion recovery for after if they've made that decision.
That's incredible. What a bountiful resource that is. That's amazing. I'm actually curious, are any of these classes that they have to pay for upfront, or is it all built into the services of the center?
Everything is free. We have some amazing donors that get behind us, churches that get behind us, so that we're able to do that. And then along with the classes, they're not only just receiving education, but they're also getting rewarded by earning points to be able to shop in a little store that we have. One of the pushbacks is that, oh, I can't afford a child. I don't have the finances for that. And so we just want to take that barrier out of the way by providing diapers and clothes and equipment and all the things that they need to be successful as parents.
Wow, that's a really big gift. That's amazing. How does the ultrasound process work at your clinic?
For us, if we feel like she's abortion minded when she comes in for her pregnancy test, then we will try to go straight into the ultrasound after her pregnancy test. And if she's open to us turning the big screen on where she can see it, then we definitely do that and allow her to be able to see the baby as well. And if she has the father available, we definitely love to have the fathers in the room. It's super important for them. We find that they have a lot of weight in that pregnancy decision, whether good or bad. Sometimes the fathers are pressuring them not to parent. And sometimes we find that when the father sees the baby, that they're actually the one that is wanting the child. And so we think it's really important that they are there as well. So yeah, we just give them the opportunity to be able to see that little life on the screen.
Wow, that's really beautiful. Yeah. I remember in my own experience myself having that be the case where I got to see the screen, and so did my husband at the time, and that was really impactful for us as well. It's such a way to honor the mother and the father in that room. That's beautiful. I was just going to ask you if you provided support for fathers and other family members as well, but it sounds like you do. Can you speak to anything else that you guys go beyond what you've already shared?
Yeah, we really believe fathers are the missing link in this generation. They are so much more valuable than our society would tell. And so we try to reward the fathers. So if they come to the parenting classes, then they get double points to spend in the boutique because we really just want those fathers involved in the children's lives. And we also have some special classes just for fathers where they need to learn all the other things too. They need to learn infant care and parenting skills as well. So we have both. We have lessons tailored just to them, or it's great if they're involved in all of the lessons along the way. And for our birthing classes, we really encourage fathers, if they're available, to be a part of that so that they can learn how to support the mom during the whole process and afterwards as well.
That's incredible. I think that's honestly rare. I've never heard of anything like that. So that's really incredible. What kinds of resources or material assistance do you offer after the baby is born?
So at the birth, we call it a baby bundle that we give them right at birth. And it's just like a get started. It's like a baby shower in a bag where we just have just a whole list full of things that they need to get started. Burp cloths and blankets and little onesies, all the things that they need just to get them going. And then after that, like I said, they earn every time they complete a class. They get some things for free. They can have some diapers or an outfit or something for free every week. And then they also earn points that they can save up. So maybe they need something bigger, like a crib or a car seat that might take a couple visits to earn for that. So they can save up for something big, or they can spend it right that day on something smaller.
Wow. That is a lot of resources. And I know that just being involved in centers in my past, I know that's a huge weight lifted off these families, knowing that there is a place that's going to make sure that they're resourced during, for a lot of them, very challenging time in their lives, just becoming a parent for the first time. So that's really cool, Tracy. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome to have you on the show. Okay, we're curious. One of the biggest accusations is that PRCs or pregnancy resource centers use manipulation or coercion. How do you respond to that?
Every single piece of advertising that we do, whether it's through Google Ads, our website, Google Post, every single post that we put out there says that we do not perform or refer for abortions. And so
Right.
it's pretty clear if they actually read the entire ad, or if they,
Yeah.
actually read on the website. We are not trying to hide that. We don't put anything out without that statement attached to it. So if they
Yeah.
come in and they have thought that we offer that, it's only because they didn't choose to read, because we would never want to bait and switch them. Absolutely not.
No.
And even I know that we've been accused of like getting them in and trying to change their mind or trying to shame them. And that is absolutely not what we do. We make sure that
Yeah.
if we are offering information on abortion, we're giving information on abortion. We're offering what they're asking for. And then
Yeah.
our hope is that as they're learning truth, as they're getting information, that will be enough information that for themselves they will make a different choice. But we're not
Yeah.
out there to manipulate them or coerce them or shame them into anything. We give them, there's times that honestly, I would love to say so much more about, the baby growing inside them or the abortion procedures or all of those things. It would be very
Yeah.
easy to have a really strong, like pro-life conversation with somebody, but that's not what they
Right.
came in for. They came
Right.
in seeking information about the pill or information about an abortion procedure, or wanting to know, do they fit in the right timeline to take the pill? That's what we're offering. Sometimes we're advertising that they need to have an ultrasound for their own health protection, because if they take the pill and
Absolutely.
they're too far along, that's dangerous. If they take the pill and they're
Yep.
actually having an ectopic pregnancy, that's super dangerous. So there's things that we're offering to them. And so we're not going to change our appointment based on if we've offered that, that's what we're giving them. And then hopefully,
Yeah.
like I said, during the process, we're doing an ultrasound to protect her health. But hopefully she's going to see that little beating heart and she's going to fall in love with that beating heart. That's our goal, is that she
Yeah.
will just connect. There will be a connection. And we have literally, I think we have over 400 people praying every time we're having these conversations. So we don't have to manipulate. We give her what she's looking for, and then we just let
Yeah.
God do the rest.
And I think you mentioned it earlier, but every service that you guys provide is free. There's no financial gain. You guys don't benefit in any way from
Right.
somebody changing their mind. Your motivation isn't to manipulate because there's no gain for you
Yes.
whatsoever. And so if anything, you guys are just there to freely give.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Says a lot about how that is just such a silly accusation and just not accurate.
Yeah, it's not even mentioned that the abortion industry is the exact opposite. Nobody talks about, wow, this
Yeah.
industry is profiting off these women who are in a dire
Yes.
situation. They're profiting off them. And nobody's talking
Yes.
about the fact that they're not giving them any other options. They're bringing, and they are coercing them. And really, I've heard horror stories of the way that the women are treated if they try to like start to back out in the middle of an appointment or something. It's just crazy that nobody's bringing that to light about how women are
Yeah.
treated during that process and how they're being preyed upon, really. They're really being preyed upon.
Yes. Absolutely. And even if they're not physically going in person, there's a lot of virtual manipulation happening. Like you were saying, it is the right thing for someone to do to go have an ultrasound to verify, is it a viable pregnancy? Is it ectopic or not? And how far along are they? But unfortunately, a lot of those laws have changed. And also they're just not being followed if they do exist. And it is quite dangerous for these women. And so that is a different, really horrific type of coercion and manipulation that is taking place legally and illegally in a lot of places, which is unfortunate. And I hear the other side of that, since I focus a lot of my ministry time and the work that I do is with women who have had abortions. And so I do hear those stories firsthand, and it's really hard to hear that's happening to them.
It's really sad the way that pregnancy centers are viewed compared to really, not only are we trying to obviously stand up for babies who can't stand up for themselves. We're praying for life-affirming decisions, but we're coming alongside and helping these women honestly protect their health because of some really bad laws that have been passed. The eliminating any formal care during a procedure was horrible. It really has put so many, the new studies show now I think it's up to 11% of the women are ending up in the emergency room with some really severe adverse reactions. And that should never be okay. We should not be allowing procedures to go to be performed in homes by themselves with that high of a percentage of risk. And
Agreed.
yeah, pregnancy centers should be like celebrated that we're helping protect women's health, but of course we're not.
Yeah, and was the motivation for this mini-series for sure. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you guys ensure that your clients are informed and not pressured? We have been talking about that, but I think it's okay to maybe just highlight, it's not like you guys just formed a board, rented a building, threw some tables in there, and now you're doing your thing. It's like there's a lot that goes into legally being able to do what you guys are doing. Maybe just talk a little bit about what your documentation and the documents you give to clients that are actual medical information. What does that look like, and how do you guys make sure they're informed and they're not pressured, which you've already touched on, but you can say a little more if you want.
Right. We work over the board extremely hard. I think that we honestly have to work way harder than typical medical clinics because we are accused, and literally, especially in the state that we are in, sought after by attorney generals and whatnot to try to close us down. We go above and beyond making sure that we're following HIPAA compliance, making sure that every document that we use for evidence-based education is signed off by our medical director. He knows what resource that we're using from. We can't just like pull some study or pull some quote somewhere and hand that to a woman. No, it has to be a specific, that's already been signed off by our medical director. And for us, I know a lot of centers are moving towards this, but we're actually in the process right now of being accredited by a third party. It's called AAAHC. So it's a organization that gives accreditation to medical clinics. And so we just want to make sure that we are stamped with an approval that says a third party has came in, looked at everything that we're doing, and we are functioning at the highest level possible for a medical clinic. And so we make sure that we are doing all of the policies, the procedures, everything we can to make sure that we are following every law. And then, yeah, on the coercion, we just make sure she comes in, we'll be like, you tell me, what do you know about this procedure that you're looking at? So we start by asking her that question. And then based on what she tells us, we'll be like, would you like to know? We're always asking. We never force something down her throat. We're never going to show her something without her permission. Would you like to see? That we're always asking those questions. Would you like to know what it looks like? Would you like to hear? Would you like to see? Making sure that we're getting her permission before we're giving her any kind of information about, especially like on an abortion topic or something like that.
Thank you for sharing all that. I think it's really important for our listeners just to hear, especially if they have never interacted with a pregnancy resource center or come to an event where maybe that was explained. So thank you. Mm-hmm. This might seem like a silly question, but I think it's also a good one. Do you guys require that your clients be part of the Christian faith to receive help from you guys?
No, absolutely not. That's not a question.
Yeah.
That's not a question. Yeah. We will ask at the end of our time with them if we can pray with them. We're asking the question, would you be open to having us pray for you? And even after they join our parenting program, we're always asking, would you be open to hearing the spiritual application? Or would you mind if I just shared a little spiritual story from myself? Or we're always asking the question. We don't want to shove anything down anyone's throat. And definitely we have women come in from all. We've had women who say that they're Wiccan, that they're atheists, that they're, you name it. We've probably had it so far. And that's our mission field. So we would definitely never want to push somebody away because they share a different belief.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I knew the answer, but it's great hearing it from you too. Awesome. Can you really quickly just share a story with us of a woman or a family whose life was changed through your center?
Oh, pick one.
I know.
Yeah, there was a young lady who, it was fun because I just reconnected with her. I was actually sharing at a church a couple months ago, and she came up to me afterwards. And she came to us 5 years ago, and she was pregnant, not married. The boyfriend was really pressuring her to have an abortion. And being single, she just had all the fears of how am I going to take care of this baby? She didn't even own a car. She didn't have a job because she didn't have a car, so she didn't know how that was going to work. And through the support that she received through the pregnancy center, she chose life. One of the things we also do with our clients is we help connect them to local resources. And so housing, if they need food, maybe they need the women's support shelter from abuse, whatever it is, we make sure that we try to get them connected. And so her advocate was actually able to connect her with a local resource called Love Inc. and get her a used car. And so she told me when I saw her, and her little girl was 5 years old, she was so excited to come up to me after the service and show me her little girl. And she's, oh my goodness, you guys changed my life. Now I've been through nursing school. I still have my car. Here's my little girl. And so it's so fun to get to see full circle because sometimes if they're doing the parenting program, we might get to see them until the child is 2. But sometimes they make a decision to parent, but they don't do our parenting program. And so you just never have that end story. You never get that. Yeah. You never get to see the end. And sometimes we don't even know, like we're pretty sure they changed their mind, but we're like, did they have the baby? We don't know. And so when you get to see the story go full circle, you see this little girl standing there and this mom just so excited and just thriving, doing well. I saw her in a church. So she's connected in this church. So those are the kind of stories that on the hard days really keep you going.
Wow, that is so good. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, I think, just one more question, then turn it back over to Autumn. What changes have you seen in clients when they receive truthful, compassionate care? So maybe another story that was focused, bringing them to a place of being that informed consent, that informed care, and realizing the truth prior to what they maybe understood when they came in.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a story of a mom that happened. She came back in this spring, but she originally came in oh, I guess it would be about a year ago now. She was in her 40s. She had like an 18-year-old child and I think a 14-year-old child. And so she was devastated. Like she did not want to start over at all. And the support she received, she was just hugging the advocate afterwards, after just realizing, wow, I was thinking of ending this life and it's already a life. We have we have a screen right when they come in as they're waiting in the waiting room. We have a screen that is playing a video, and it's an amazing new resource called erf.science, and it's
Mm.
the technology is just incredible. They, instead of using an ultrasound, they used an endoscope that goes in, and it's a video camera on the inside. And so
Wow.
through an ultrasound, like a 6-week ultrasound, 7-week ultrasound, it's still, honestly, it still looks a little bit like a bean. We can see that white beating heart, which is amazing, but the shape of the baby kind of looks like a bean through ultrasound. But through this endoscope, the video on the inside, you can see that at 7 weeks, I mean, there's individual fingers. You can see the fingernails. It's amazing what the baby really looks like. And so we've had client after client be like, wait, I thought it was a clump of cells, because they're still
Right.
doing that. They're still believing that. So anyway, this lady literally just came in this spring with her 6-month-old baby, and there was her 18-year-old, and she just brought like probably 3 bags of, because she was just like, I just have to thank you. I just have to thank you because I didn't know, and you helped me
Right.
know. And yeah, those are the things where it's amazing to me with the technology out there that women could possibly still believe that lie, that it's a clump of
Yeah.
cells. Pictures, maybe it's just because my feed is really geared towards the pro-life, and so I'm seeing so many pictures of ultrasounds and stuff. So maybe other people, let's just pretend that people are not seeing all those ultrasounds, but those ultrasounds,
Right.
4D ultrasound, how could you even slightly think it's a clump of cells? But the
Yeah.
is that is the privilege that we have, is to be able to show them what really is happening on the inside.
Yeah.
And when they see
Yeah.
that and they've thought that it wasn't, it's pretty amazing to see the light go on.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so good. All right, Autumn, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for sharing these stories. This is so intimate and beautiful to me. Hearing the story of the 5-year-old, the mother with the 5-year-old coming back to your office and just saying, here she is, such a beautiful turnaround, even for myself. When my now 5-year-old, when I was pregnant with her, I went to a pregnancy resource center, and she was the one that I saw, and that little baby being, just how you described it. It really does change everything. And just that made me so emotional to see, because when you're choosing life, you're choosing an actual human life. You're choosing for this little boy or this little girl to grow up. And for you to get to see that even years down the line, just like you said, not even knowing how most of these stories end, you're still doing it with the faith in the
Yeah.
Lord. And I love also just how your clinic approaches everything with curiosity, putting kind of the ownership and onus on them, and less shoving. There's no shoving down their throat. There's
Yeah.
no coercion there. It's simply approaching every conversation and question with curiosity and openness, and asking and seeing if they're ready for that. That's just beautiful, Tracy. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. It was really
Absolutely.
beautiful. Yeah. Okay. What do you wish every person, pro-life or pro-choice, knew about pregnancy resource centers?
Yeah, I wish that they understood that we're actually giving women choices. That the pro-abortion industry has been coined the pro-choice movement, and they're just not. And so we really do give choices. I didn't really touch on it, but adoption is an amazing choice, to be able to give your baby the option to be parented by someone who you get to choose. I don't know that they really had that ability before, but you get to choose, and you honestly get to choose how involved you are in the baby's life. It's not like, at this point, you're not just writing the baby off and saying, I'll never see you again. If you want, you can be as much involved as you can. And so I just wish, yeah, that more people understood that pregnancy centers are literally coming alongside supporting women, supporting children. And we even have women come to us who maybe are already pregnant and have chosen to parent, or maybe they've even already had their child, but they're struggling. And that's what
Mm.
pregnancy centers are all about. We're all about coming alongside parents and saying, hey, you don't have to do this alone. You can literally have somebody be in your corner, cheering you on, giving you guidance. We've heard time and time again, I had a terrible home life. I could never be a good parent. Hey, let us come help you. Let us help you learn how to be a good parent. And I think there's just so much confusion over what pregnancy centers really do, thanks to the media just throwing us under the bus, that they just don't realize the support and the resources that pregnancy centers can be for women.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I never thought of it that way, that the pro-choice movement is really not about a choice. They've already made the decision for you, and they are making sure you make the decision with them for financial gain or otherwise, that it's not even about making a decision. It's more ending the life, basically. That's what
Yeah.
that means. That's so odd,
That's
honestly, how
honestly,
they've...
we rebranded a few years ago. For years, we were Caring Pregnancy Center. Actually, I think originally 40 years ago when it started, it was Crisis Pregnancy Center. Then they switched to Caring Pregnancy Center. And then because of all the lies around pregnancy centers a few years ago, we were like, okay, we're going to distance ourselves from that name and come back into the market. And so we went around and around trying to figure out what was the best name, what was the best name. And we came up with Premier Choice because we were like, you know what? We are giving choices and we want the ultimate choice. The ultimate choice is either to have you choose to parent or have someone else choose to parent for you. And maybe we stole that word, but that's okay. We repurposed it for a better cause.
I love that. That's amazing. I think too, it's you're giving the life is like a certainty. We're trying to make the life come to fruition. There's no end in that. But from there, you have options. And so that's just a beautiful way to put that, that you invite them to have different options and put the decision making on them. That's wonderful. How can someone support your work, whether through volunteering, donating, or simply spreading awareness?
Wow, all three of those are great ways to support pregnancy centers, whether it's ours or a pregnancy center close to your area. Definitely, pregnancy centers could not function without volunteers. We are 100% donor based, where thank goodness some federal funding is now being cut from the other side. They have been receiving $2 million a day to do what they do, and we've been receiving zero. Without volunteers, it would be impossible to hire, especially when you're looking at those medical professionals, because those salaries add up super quickly. So, yeah, medical professionals, nurses, even if you're not, maybe you're like, oh, I could never be in that conversation. I could never be face to face. There's positions, especially if a clinic is being accredited, there's positions that are not face to face that still, if you have some kind of a medical training, like now we have all these officers in place, like the HIPAA officer and the safety officer and the quality control officer. So there's a lot of options if somebody wanted to come in and not be like having that face-to-face conversation with a client, that are really valuable positions in a pregnancy center. Of course, we have our team that sorts donations and washes and irons and hangs them up. Those kind of things are great too. Yeah, so volunteer is definitely an amazing way, helping with fundraising. Those are another way that people can volunteer to help on those sides of things. And then donations, like we not only do monetary donations, but we also take all of the things, all of the equipment and everything. If it's in really good, we only take, it has to be in really good condition because we feel like our women are worthy of good quality things. But those kind of donations of equipment or clothing, diapers. And there's some amazing pro-life companies now, like Every Life Diaper, where people can not only be purchasing diapers for pregnancy centers, but they also are getting kickbacks that are helping other centers that maybe don't have enough diapers, things like that. Let's see, you asked me three things. There was,
Yeah, spreading awareness. Is there
yeah.
maybe a social media or anything of that nature that can get the word out that you guys exist, that you guys, what you offer, and how we can help you do that?
Yes, that is the number two way that people find us. The number one way is Google search for sure, because that's where our clients live, is online. But the number two way that they find us is word of mouth. And yeah, the more people know about us, like we used to say, oh my word, we're like this hidden like we're just hidden. People don't know about us. And so the more people that know about us, because maybe you don't need us, but you know someone or they know someone. And that is definitely the best way. If they follow like our pages, our social media pages, whenever we throw something out, if they share it, that's a great thing for them to do. Help us spread the word. Like right now, we are looking for an RN. Super hard to get the word out for that position because it's not a job that you can post on a typical job offering, right? Because they have to be, first of all, pro-life. Second of all, for us, they need to have a great relationship with the Lord. And because of the industry that we're in, they're probably not going to make as much as they would in the regular industry. And so just getting that word out is hard, but those are great ways that people can help us spread the word for things like that, job positions, and then definitely just the services that we offer so that more women know that we're there if they need us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you've already touched on this briefly, I think maybe even extensively, just in the stories that you have shared. But just briefly, what gives you hope to keep doing this work day after day?
Yeah, it's those win stories for sure. I'm not going to lie, there's some days. I remember a day, it's been several months ago. I don't normally get a lot of time face to face with clients because I'm usually tucked away in my office working on policy and procedure or some fun thing like that. But the manager was on vacation and I did 3 abortion minded women in one day. And by the end of the day, when they're walking out and you don't know, or maybe you do know what they chose, it's really hard not to take it home with you. Yeah, I remember that night I woke up at 2 a.m. just feeling so heavy over some of the decisions that were made that day. And then of course you go through oh, what if I would have said this? Or should I showed her this? Or you second guess yourself about all the conversations that you had. And especially those frontline positions that we use 2 people for our intake appointment. We use an advocate who kind of teams with the nurse. And so those 2 women who are on the front lines for those abortion-minded conversations, it's a heavy lift. And you really have to be able to lay it at the feet of Jesus when you go home and say, they're yours. These babies are yours. These mamas are yours. We care for the mamas just as much as we care for the babies. But you have to be able to just leave it there and trust that you've done what the Lord called you to do. And now, it's the Holy Spirit's job to chase them down, so to speak. But I think having a firm foundation in the Lord gets you through, and the win stories for sure keeps you going.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for being here, Tracy. We really appreciate it. You're kicking off this mini series that I've been so excited to do. We just bring truth and light to what the pregnancy resource centers in this immediate area where we are located are doing. Why don't you just briefly share where your clinic is located? I know we've already done that, but let's just have you do it one more time and then we'll see you next time.
Okay, yeah. So we are in Longview, Washington. We're fortunate enough that we're right off the main highway that goes east to west through Longview. At first, we were looking for a place that we thought needed to be like across the street from the high school. We have a community college high school, and we're like, oh, we wanted to be across the street from them so bad. We just kept looking for property right around that. And then we found this center, and it's maybe a mile away from the school, maybe even less than from another school. But I honestly feel like it's perfect because we are not on the main highway, but we get sandwich boards on the main highway. We are one building away, and it's even better because our parking lot is a little hidden. So when women are not wanting anybody to know, it's great. We're diagonally across from Dairy Queen, and I've sat in my office, looked out the window, and I saw the 16-year-old girl walking from Dairy Queen crossing the street over to us. So that way her car and her phone are sitting in the Dairy Queen parking lot while she's over at our place, which is when she doesn't want anyone to know where she's at. Actually has worked out to be perfect. Our location has worked out really well for us. We're super blessed that we found it.
Yes. Yeah, and your new location is beautiful. It's so comfortable, so welcoming. I absolutely love it. So definitely, if you're listening, someone that lives in the area, you guys should check it out. So, well, Autumn and I are so thankful to you, Tracy. You're just so awesome. You're one of my favorite people, and I really appreciate you doing this today. And thank you for being here. Thank you so much for joining us today on Goodbye Guilt and Shame. We hope this conversation helped replace confusion with clarity and exposed the powerful truth behind pregnancy resource centers. These places exist not to judge or manipulate, but to love and support and walk with women through some of the most difficult decisions of their lives. And as we've heard today, truth changes everything. If this episode moved you, challenged you, or even made you curious to learn more, don't stop here. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Like, follow, download, and share this podcast miniseries and to bring awareness and to share the resources that we highlight. You can find us on all the listening platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and more. Follow and support your local pregnancy resource center. If you have questions or stories to share, email us at ask@restorednation.org. We'd love to hear it. We believe that every woman deserves the truth. Every life has value, and every person listening can be a part of saving lives, not by force, but through compassion and truth. Until next time, we're Jess Lane and Autumn Smith, reminding you today can and will be better than yesterday.